Welcome to Kingdoms Reborn. My name is Blue, and I'd like to show you some gameplay of this great game. So first off, we'll start off with just starting up a brand new game off the get-go, and I decided to go off this adorable little Shiba Inu right here, because, you know, why wouldn't you? And from what I've played so far of the game, I feel like going for a smaller map is best. I mean, you don't seem to use up very much of the map at all as you play. Even the AI don't really consume much, so there's almost never a land-based conflict of any sort, other than just because you wanted it for, you know, the laughs, basically. So I found that, yeah, just go for a small. I mean, you have in a large map you'll find more areas which are better to set up a base in, but, you know, you get a bit of performance from a small map anyway, so why not? So we'll set up for the most AI players we can get on this map. I've been living it mostly at medium, trying to go for a little bit fewer mountains just so it's easier to plan out your buildings and such. We'll try to go for a little bit wet, see if we'll get a bit more wood, because wood's pretty important going on there. And we'll go for an equator, because it makes the most sense, you know, on a world scale, that the equator would be the hottest place. And we will... Actually, I'll show you some of this other stuff as well, with these different sorts of races they've got going on here. There's bonuses attached to them. If I can see if I can go back to where you can see those bonuses. I can't remember how you do that actually. Oh, here we go. So yeah, we're getting a lot. This is your base one here. Getting a 5% research bonus. Now, what you're trying to achieve in this game is to achieve a win condition. So getting a high research speed is good to get that win, but I don't particularly care about the winning part of the game. I'm more here about making a city, and I don't think that necessarily choosing the duchy is the easier option. Because if you go back here, you can see that Norsemen are a high difficulty, and Emirates is a high difficulty, but Duchy doesn't. Even though the Duchy has so fewer bonuses that you get out of them. Like here, negative 50% wood cutting yield. Well, actually, no, that's actually a pretty severe demerit on the race, I suppose. But yeah, here we go. Norsemen get 20% cold resistance and 30% more wood, yet they're considered a harder race, and I feel like that's really odd. Dealing with having to convert so much of your wood into coal in the early game is really quite difficult, so I'm really surprised that they'll choose to make Norsemen considered a difficult race, but I'm sure they have their reasons. I guess from a winning perspective, having a race which just has better speed, so you get to the better techs you need to win, makes more sense. But as I said before, we don't care about winning, we're just here to play a city building game. I'm going to choose Shogunate because they're the new ones, and they match obviously the Japanese aesthetic here of the Shiba Inu, so we'll go that way. And I do like the 10% luxurious production, because you can find that luxury production is something that really eats into your production and such. So that's the way we'll be going there. I'll resettle this stuff back. Difficulty normal, yeah, sure. Peaceful AI, no, we'll just leave it as standard as well. Mountain density a little bit low, moisture a little bit high, and in fact we'll put the sea level down low, because there's no benefit that I can see from having sea other than putting a trading port there. But you can have land trading ports and they seem to be just as good, so who knows. Anyway, we'll generate a world, and that was pretty quick. Start game. So yeah, this is the starting position here, and this is sort of setting the reason, the justification narratively as to why you have to deal with a cold winter, despite the fact you may choose to set up your first city in, say, the desert or something. but that it still freezes at the middle of the year. So you know, it works. Cool. Now we want to choose a starting location for ourselves, and I found the best starting locations are ones where there's iron, because that'll be your mid-tier resource that you'll definitely need, and also coal, because I find that making all of your coal you want to use to heat up your village is really difficult using just wood, because you'll be consuming your wood for lots of other things like building your village's buildings and all sorts of other things. Making luxury resources, so sort of holding back on the amount of wood you're consuming to make coal is really easily done by just mining the coal directly from the mountains. And this area here has got quite a bit of coal. It's near to this guy here, which might reduce our expanding options, but I think it's a good one to go for, considering there's very little iron here. I mean, there's this here, but it's even closer to that guy, so. And we also want access to a decent amount of wood, so I think maybe here is a good starting location. According to this, it's a very hard, difficult location, but that's because so much of the land is not arable, although you got a decent amount of arable land here from this little lake. Or we can start here, which is close enough to where the coal is, we can expand into it, and that gives us access to this very short river, but the short river will give us access to suitable and highly rich soil to grow crops in. So I feel like that's probably the way to go. Yeah. So we'll start at this location here. And now we get our initial resources, and I find that just a little bit more medicine and just a little bit more in the way of stone tools at the beginning, because you do consume your medicine fairly quickly before you can start making stuff your own. So we'll set it with that. Cool. And we'll set up our town hall, which is just our basic starter building where everything happens, where everything's stored, and we can do upgrades. So that's fine by me. And now you get your first starter card. So this game has a card system which is pretty. Well, it's one of the areas where I think it sort of shines a little bit. It feels odd, but I'll explain a bit more later. So I do like taking an investment. Basically, it just increases the amount of money you're earning. As long as you stay above about 2,000 coins, you'll get 100 coins every turn. And that's pretty beneficial at the very beginning of the game. You can get these other cards later in the game, so you're not losing anything, but this one here, it's more difficult to get later, so we'll go with that one. And we'll choose a grassland bonus. There's the hunting one and the grassland one, the herder one. This one here is more useful in a later mid-game situation. This one here is better for the early game. I'll plan ahead and go for the later game bonus. And we'll leave the tutorials on just to help me out. But I've played it a few times now, so that shouldn't be too helpful. So the first thing we want to do is expand our village so we can get these people hiding into their little homes so they're not exposed to the rain. And you can get, because I've opened to an area with a resource, I can immediately get access to a card which can get a coal mine, which will be useful later. So we'll buy that now, then it'll sit down here until I need it. We'll put our investment card in there so we can start actually benefiting from the card. And we'll get these people into their homes, shall we? So I'll just make a nice straight line like this here. And one, oops, no, let's hold shift and cube a few of them. Oops, I think I pushed that house. This is me being a bit pedantic, but whatever. There's no cost to doing that, which is nice. It's only a cost after you actually made it. There we go. 8 homes will do us nicely for the short while. Now here we can access some cards that we'll need. So a hunting lodge is a great one to get right now. These charcoal burners will be useful for turning wood into coal, but we'll try to get people to mine instead, so we'll pass on those for this game. And a pig ranch. I don't know if it'll fit very well on here, but we'll try. Okay, so the first thing I want to set up is the hunting lodge, so we'll just push it back here. You can move them later, so it's not a big deal. And we can do some research, which we'll need. We'll want to get some basic medicine going. And we'll get this pig ranch, which we can squeeze right here. It'll take a fair bit of wood, but that's okay. And we've got these speed up things here. So these will be useful for speeding up buildings where we need to like just squeeze a little bit more efficiency out of them. We'll go ahead and gather some trees. Whoops. Just because we're desperately going to need the lumber. We're already completely out of the wood. And we'll just hold off on doing that until we've got a bit more wood coming in, because that's something that we're going to need to just expand our village, and it's going to be a while before it gets so cold that heating is going to become a problem. Oh yep, we've got our 5 houses, excellent. Building, this is part of the inbuilt tutorial. Typically you would want to build a charcoal burner because it's a pretty efficient way of getting heat for your homes. Your homes can burn both wood and coal, but we don't want them burning wood because it's far more efficient that they burn coal. So we'll just prevent them from taking any at all. We'll just ignore that current tutorial in favour of making the coal one, but we'll probably build another charcoal burner as well later, because you'll be surprised how quickly they like to consume this this coal to heat their houses. Now I would like to look at the I don't think we can yet. I'd like to look at the what sort of fertility we have here for growing crops around this small lake, but we'll have to wait until we can actually grow crops before we can figure that out, I think, unless... Oh no, here we go. So yeah, it's a decent growth potential around here. It's not oodles, but it's okay. This actually doesn't have very much fertility at all. I was hoping for a bit more, but it'll do. It'll do. And they've got this, obviously, this big, nice patch right here, which will be useful for our farms later. Fruit gatherers. Yes, I'll need some of those. And a fishing lodge would be good as well. It can be surprising how food just sort of runs away from you. I think it's the case for a lot of these games where you feel like for a while you're really on top of your food, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, your village is starving, you don't have enough, and just don't know where you're going wrong. Now all these production centres have an ability to be upgraded. Now what I like to do is really focus on that early on, because we're not using the stone much for anything. We can use the stone to improve the installation, but we're definitely going to be doing that. But I think getting a bit more food in is the better call right now. So we'll do that, and do this also. This upgrade here only works if it's adjusted to a fruit gatherer, which is why I picked up the fruit gatherer before. Now you got two modes here for your fruit gatherer, your normal and your meticulous. Meticulous is probably not necessary right now because we've got so much fruit around, so we'll just leave it on normal for the moment. But if we are trying to harvest from a rather sparse area, we may change to meticulous later. Now this guy here will also have some upgrades soon as well, but we'll have to wait till it actually gets built. And we seem to have run out of flagged plants, so let's cut some more trees down, shall we? We'll cut the non-fruit trees. And just a few more non-fruit trees. Nice. Oh, you can upgrade the town hall, but I'm not going to do that yet because I don't want to cut into this money I have right now, because it's going to reduce our income because of that card. So we'll try to eke our way back up to 2,000 if we can. What do we got here for wood? 505. Okay, that's pretty good. We'll get our mine going. I like to keep them nice and straight, so I'm trying to find a way I can put like two next to each other with they're straight in line. That seems to be fine. And for this guy here, there's a certain amount of coal in here. This number isn't actually the amount of coal you can get out of the coal mine. It's sort of like a base load amount, and if you increase the conservation, you can actually increase the amount of coal that's actually in the hill. It's a bit of an odd system, but once you get used to it, it's intuitive enough. So we'll get those guys to build that one, and we'll join up the road. Okay, cool. This guy is working. I don't want to waste the tools because they'll run out pretty quickly, so we'll hold off on doing that. But we will upgrade the pest traps though, because of the adjacency bonus, and it's like 30% for like 10 wood, so that ain't bad. And we'll just do some boosts because we've got boosts saved up. We might as well use them just to get some food flowing through because we are running a bit low. And we'll see what sort of a stone tool production. Maybe we can hold off a little bit longer because it does use up stone. We don't have any amazing ways to get more right now. Immigration officers are pretty good because they'll get us in more people faster. So we'll just go ahead with one of those for now. And they're quite nice because they're the exact same size as the house. So they can sort of fit in with your housing schemes. Oh, no animals in the area, but they should hopefully migrate back in as time goes on. There's one who's managed to find a sneaky little place to hide. One of the things that this guy makes is leather. You don't find much use for it in the very early games. I find that it's pretty useful to trade because you will get a trader coming along every now and again who will give you the option to trade out for some pretty decent gold. So once that happens, we may invest some of that gold we get from the trader into moving up to our next tier. Labour counters, yes, so I've run out of basic labourers to do things, but that's not the end of the world. What we'll do is we'll kick 2 people out of here. That's probably the way to go. But we do need to make a storage facility. Just make a small one here. Yeah, that should be enough. Just a place to store the coal. And what I'm interested in also is purchasing this location in the future as well, just so we can get access to a fertile area, but also to see what's in these crates. There typically isn't anything like super great in them. It's usually just a basic improvement card of some sort, but sometimes you can be surprised. Oh wow, it's a nice bonus here, 200 province base income. That's pretty good. This hotel service obviously isn't going to be useful in the very early game, but it's a very nice little late game bonus. These enemy tribes are pretty interesting. They don't seem to really matter as of yet, so I don't know what the deal is. Obviously there's more of a work in progress really, but if you seem to grab enough of the territories around them and they're a low enough level, you can just simply buy the land, and I think you get a small amount of villages for your village as well when you do so. So we'll probably find ourselves expanding into one of these as we go along. The enemy AI villages seem to be a bit better than they used to be. When I was playing the game, like, I feel like it was almost a couple of years ago now, maybe not that long, but getting on there. They were pretty thick, and you'd find that the villagers would die pretty easily. And then you would have migrants coming into your town from these failing cities, so it's a pretty good way of getting a lot of passive immigration. But these days, well, at least in this modern build, the AI seems to be doing a far better job, so we don't see many people like showing up like that. Okay, so we're up to 1,000 gold now, which is pretty good. I'm a little bit concerned about our food income, so we'll replace the or we'll use this fishing lodge, find a really fatty place to put it. Oh, I've got 112, 116, 100, 102, 108, 116. Yeah, we can do 122. That seems to be our best bet. Oh, Wandering Traders. This is what I'm aiming for. So we'll do a trade with them, and we'll trade out all of our leather, although we're a little bit short on the total amount we need. Maybe we'll hold off a few seconds and see if we can get the last little bits of leather that we need. Come on. Come on. I guess part of the problem is that we're very low on labourers. Or maybe we don't bother. Oh, I would really like it if we could get this last lever. Or I can just trade out something else. Like maybe we can trade out a couple of stones, because the stones are actually worth more right now. They are useful for us for building, but I don't think losing 4 stones is the end of the world for us. So yeah, that's the maximum we could get out of them, and that's a decent amount of money. So we'll sell that. Cool, so we're almost up to 2,000 again, which is benefiting our investment card.